must win if he wants to have a chance of advancing in Code A.
To the bottom left of the map, we have the TSL player. He definitely made this last map work. Well, he played a really good game, but a lot of mistakes from his opponent that he could capitalize on. It is the TSL player. It is
TSL Polt.
very experienced. Played in this booth 1,000 times. Has the experience to pull this off. I don't think that he's nervous anymore when he is on camera.
No.
His opponent, on the other hand, a young player, and he cannot look back on well, a very long and successful career. So it's a little bit of a different situation for Protoss in the blue. Starting for the Zenix team is
The next stream. Now remember, we saw the forward gateway last time. He made it as wall, and this allowed his Zealot to come out very quickly as well as a Stalker. He put a lot of pressure on Polt that way, but in the end, Polt was able to defend really nicely. And this really punishes someone who goes for a command center first, so you may be relying on that assumption again, as this is a very common map to see command center first on. But he's not playing against Marine King, he's playing against Polt, the brother of Marine King.
the brother.
Well, they both have very similar styles, especially in TVZ, but Polt is going for gas again. He's hidden his first barracks, and this is a little bit scary for Extreme, who's going to see the gas. He's probably going to go check the natural right away for the barracks. He needs to, at least.
A lot of players, by the way, in the GSL as well, have sometimes nerve issues. This is something that is to a certain degree obvious, because you look at these games and you know that they are on camera and there's a lot of passion to them. But you should not underestimate this just in general, because even if you talk to seasoned players, they sometimes will be nervous. They will lose a game and they will make a couple of mistakes, and you'll be like wondering, why exactly did you do that? Was that on purpose or was that a mistake? So you talk to them afterwards and they would just tell you, no, I was too nervous. I made this mistake, I didn't realize it. In practice it always
Manor
worked.
Pylon!
Nice.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I have never...
Oh, you're right.
Oh my god.
This is actually, he traps 2 of the SCVs. Very well done. This is actually really hard to pull off.
Yeah, that is actually extremely difficult. By the way,
Are you extremely difficult? Wow.
it is extremely difficult, but the probe, I know you're like pointing at the screen, I'm like, I got your joke, I just have something else to say.
Go.
He did not spot either of the barracks, and so he sent another probe all over the place looking for barracks. He still hasn't found it. He's probably starting to get a little bit concerned at this point.
He probably is.
And he has no idea where they are. It's just a regular 2 racks.
Can you see, look at this again? At the vision that he has? Okay. For a second I actually thought that he had a glimpse of the tech lab, but no, he didn't. You're right. He has no clue what's happening here. But yeah, coming back to the original point, you should not underestimate the pressure that some of these players, especially in Code A or Code S, are in it, because it's really like intense. You have the studio here, you have a lot of people in the audience, you have the camera on you as well, you're sitting in this booth, and the booth alone already creates this certain atmosphere. So you're shut out of everything else, and some players, even players like Linux for example, who are really experienced, they sometimes really struggle. So if you see a mistake or two here, don't think too harsh of the players. It's really, really difficult, especially when you prepare for a match for like a week or 2, and there's a lot of pressure when it actually comes down to the maps.
Yeah, imagine what it's like to prepare a build for weeks. You know, I'll talk about Karn for a second, as we see Polt moving out with a little bit of his units, and we're going to see 3-gate pressure from Extreme. Karn practiced for a show match against Todd. I helped him prepare, and I watched him play. And in this 3rd game, he prepared a special Banshee build for Metropolis, where he would kill the Creep Tumor, then take a hidden expansion on the island. And it was a build he practiced against a ton of top-level Koreans. And then when he played against Todd, right when he was sending his Banshees out, 2 Phoenixes flew into his base and killed his Banshee. And when that happens, like everything that you've planned for days and days, you've done it against 100 players, falls apart. And look at this, actually. This is bad for Extreme. He's getting caught with his Stalkers in 2 different groups. And luckily, no concussive shells here, but he will catch some reinforcements.
He's basically caught with his pants down, and once again Polt with a 1-base play here. He's trying to trap these units. There's a lot for Polt. He actually walls off now. He still has the factory in the main base, but can he take down these Stalkers? That's the one thing that it might come down to. He takes down one of them. Oh, no he doesn't. Yes he does.
Sick micro from both players.
Extreme is actually doing a great job here.
Yeah, he certainly is. Great micro on that weekend stalker. He's going to take out the last of these Marines, and this really helps him out quite heavily
he did
here.
extremely well.
He certainly did, man. And Polt is in a lot of trouble, having to pull his SCVs. He's making siege tanks right now, but he's going to lose a few more SCVs and still no concussive shells. Oh, taking more and more damage.
Extreme on one base as well. He's moving in an extremely dangerous situation for Polt to be in. And here comes the Protoss player once again with his micro, dancing his stalkers and trying to snipe those marauders. That's the one important thing that he has to pull off, but he lost a lot of stalkers already. Still, was it worth it? 16 to 25 harvesters? I'd say it was.
Yeah, and he was a little bit overkill there on his stalker targeting. The pylon will finish, at least for now, so he can get another few SV kills, but he will not get the warp in.
If he gets those SCVs, this is getting worse and worse for Polt, who's suddenly down 14 to 25 harvesters. The resources lost, of course, in favor of Extreme here. He's backing off with those stalkers, but he can expand now. He can do whatever he wants. But he needs to just wait and take a breath to think about what he wants to do here.
Yeah, he certainly should. Oh, he's not going to get those bio units. This is very unfortunate. He tries to target on the siege tank. He gets nothing. But still, the supply very even. Another siege tank about to pop out here. And Extreme with no army, really, to speak of. But he's going to probably make a Nexus.
Extreme has 3 army supply right now. He basically has no units whatsoever. There's 1 stalker. That's all there's to it.
Apparently, Observers count as army supply. Well, I guess that makes sense. They're not workers. But army supply? I never thought about it that way, huh?
Well, if you actually teach an Observer how to attack, that is the day that I switch to Protoss.
Yeah, well, there is a Observer-like unit called the Oracle, potentially in Heart of the Swarm. See something like that. That'll be cool. It's like the cousin of the Observer, I guess. The replica, by the way, is kind of similar as well. The siege tank was repaired, which I'm really impressed by Polt, but no shock. I mean, Polt's a smart player, and he knows that that siege tank is one of his most critical units right now. He's not going to let it go to waste.
But right now, with the information that Extreme has, he knows, okay, there's no command center, there's nothing right now. I can start my Nexus, but he should not overcommit to the probe production right now. He has a great economy, but Polt is bound to move out here, so he needs units. That's the one thing he needs. Oh god, he's actually supply blocked. Oh my god, that's the worst timing for him to be supply blocked.
Yeah, he will get this Immortal out at least. That's really good for him.
But still, he's missing.
And he's going to lose this pylon too. This is really not good because he's only making 1 pylon route because his economy is so shot.
Oh, Wolf, he's losing tons, or he's losing so... his Nexus finished. That's the only reason why he's not supply blocked right now. He's losing
He needs to make another pylon right now.
And he needs to warp in units.
Yeah, he can't do both.
He has to know that there's an attack coming. Extreme, you need units.
He
Seriously,
sees
buddy.
it now, he knows.
He knew already earlier. He had the Observer in position.
The scariest part for him is that, yeah, Polt's got tanks, but he's got a bio armor with stim, and he's starting medevac production. He will not be able to hold this Nexus very likely. He'll have to not cancel it, but escape, retreat, pull his probes.
He can't cancel the Nexus. It's
no, yeah, he cannot cancel, but he's going to have to cancel his mining operations because this is not going to be something he can hold against Polt's army right now.
He has to control the choke point.
He's trying to get his stalkers through. Oh, that was such a risky move, but he doesn't lose them.
And there's the scan. The Observer is dead. He has to control the choke point, and Polt is starting to hunt down these stalkers.
Yeah, but this is actually really good for Extreme because he's buying a lot of time with this.
Yeah, and he needs it. He needs a lot of time right now. He needs additional Immortals. He needs additional gateways. Those gateways units are so important now, and once again, he's supply blocked.
He is going for the rocks. It's going to buy him a little bit more time, and the sentries will allow him to force the siege once more. Nice micro by Polt.
What a pickup. Great. Here we go.
I haven't seen
was supply blocked as well. The rocks are being attacked.
Yep.
Extreme with another Immortal. Now he has 3 Immortals. Siege mode is not done for Polt just yet.
Oh, takes out a siege tank.
Siege mode is done.
Siege mode is done, and that means that he will only get 1 wave of force shields, if even that. Looks like he's not going to.
Polt is sieging up, but can he actually attack here?
Well, he's got
Guardian
combat shields.
Guardian shield has been used. Oh, one poor sentry.
Yeah, man. That
In
was
your
actually
face.
that was brutal. Oh, this is so tense.
Slowly but steadily, Polt is leapfrogging his way forward. Once again, supply block. This is this third of fourth supply block for Polt. He stims in. He's trying to attack right now. Here are the force fields Extreme, warping in additional units, but he didn't kill a single siege tank just yet. There are still fire units protecting them. And Polt again, he sieges forward. He might be able to pull this off. Extreme pulling the probes.
He pulls the probes. The Immortals are gone, and there's nothing left. A very near hold by Extreme, but it's not. He doesn't have enough units. The Bioforce consists of 3 Marines and a Marauder, but the tanks alone with these medevacs will put an end to him here. Polt is going to advance 2-0. Extreme desperate now, trying to Chrono Boost out his Immortal, but there's nothing he can do.
No, there is nothing anymore. He doesn't have a single unit. 8 army supply right now against 43. Polt is going to take down not only the Nexus, but also the Protoss player. This is it. He warps in additional units and tries to make this happen, but right now Polt is just way too strong.
He certainly is.
Attacking into the sieged up position was extremely risky.
It was extremely risky, and you left me with nothing there, but the gateways are starting to fall, and so will the production of Extreme. His production already limited by the fact that he only has 21 probes and he's on 1 mining base.
There's 1 probe just trying to go into the main base, and even this probe is going to be killed.
I think he wanted to see if he had a command center. That's probably what he wanted to see, and well, he saw that so far there is not. The command center is gone. Well, it's not gone. It never existed to begin with. There's no core anymore. And this is the last stand of Extreme. No probes coming with this, and he certainly will not hold with that many siege tanks on the low ground. His Zealot warps into siege tank fire.
The supply tells the tale. 80 against 26. The Terran player is ripping into shreds. This game is over. Extreme is losing the last few probes they had. Is enjoying the last few seconds that he has in Code A.
GG, no? No supply though?
Expect GG any second.
GG.
There it is. Polt pulling it off. Taking a 2-0 win. Looking happy. Advancing to the next round.
Yep.
I would say a little bit relieved as well.
Yeah. Very aggressive builds from him actually in both games. A little bit risky.
An Extreme, he's upset here. Disappointed.
Well, this is not the last time you'll see him. You will see him in Team League next season, and he may requalify. With the skills he has and how good he looked at the qualifier, I would not be surprised.
The problem in the round of 48 is that all these players that come from the Code B, they practiced hard for the Code A qualifier. They finally get their chance, their shot at reaching not only the first round of Code A, but staying, advancing in Code A, and then they are just suddenly facing an opponent like Polt, a Code S player that is really strong, former Code S player, so they really pre-practice for like weeks and weeks in order to win this match and lose with 2-0, which is really disappointing to them. So now it's back into Code B, and it's really tough to see all these players to struggle to get one of the spots into the round of 48 once again.
That's that's what I was discussing earlier with what happened with Karn, for example, and this happens to every pro gamer, and it's tough to watch it firsthand as a coach or as a friend. You've seen Naniwa prepare for matches that he does not win. We've all seen this before. I mean, even if you're not a pro gamer, your friends have probably played in tournaments. You've seen this type of preparation that goes into this, and sometimes your opponent does builds you don't expect. Sometimes your opponent completely plays different than his style.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're like, I prepared for this for days and days, and I'm just not quite able to pull things off like I planned. It's so frustrating, and here are our results from this morning. Killer, Oz, Life, and Shine all advancing over their opponents here.
That was the morning group that we had, especially the games between Life and Vines were really interesting.
They certainly were. That was actually a pretty cool series.
It was a short series, but a pretty cool series. If you haven't watched the VODs just yet, make sure to do it.
Yep. And that was, of course, our result for the morning. Our afternoon results, here they are.
Once again, Alive with a 2-1 win over 1st July. It's not able to beat Yoda. Yoda advancing. Lenok took down Tails in a very, very close series. Very entertaining games between the two of them. And Polt is our second Terran player. Actually, the third Terran player who advances in this group.
Yep, and next week's matches for you guys, we're going to put them up there so you guys can see who will be playing. Next week, it's going to be the round 2, which will be the round of 24. We're going to see 4GG against the STC, Heart against Yu-Gi-Oh!, Hack against Happy, and Sniper against Hyun.
Sniper against Hyun is going to be very interesting, especially with the performance that Sniper showed in the round of 48. In those ZVZ games that he played really impressive. That was so well done, and I'm really excited to see Zerg versus Zerg again.
Yep, and day 1-2 will be Jakshi versus Creator, Gumiho versus Bomber, Vampire versus Suho Shin, and last but not least, JYP against Thorzane.
Another team kill here, which is obviously very, well, it's a bit sad that
it leaves a bitter taste, but
exactly.
you know, in the end, it's like, is the glass half empty or half full? Because one EG player will advance no matter what, but at the same time, one of them will not advance. So half empty or half full depends on how you look at it. You always want, you know, of course, both players to advance, but it's unfortunate. And that is going to be, of course, next week for a round of 24. So, and don't forget, guys, we are going to have our finals in Busan for Team League and for Code S this season. They're going to be on Friday and Saturday. I cannot wait. It's going to be in Haeundae, Sick Beach. If you guys can make it, well, why aren't you coming? Or of course you're going to come if you can make it.
The thing is, if you ever thought about going to Korea and watching a GSL final, this is actually exactly when you should do it, because you get two. You go to Busan, which is one. It's a pretty cool city in Korea as well, with a very nice beach, and you have the GSTL finals and the Code S finals at the same weekend at the same location. So if you ever thought about going to Korea for one of these matches, I know that every time that we have Code S finals, there are a lot of foreigners who travel to Korea. If you ever thought about doing it yourself, this is the weekend to do it.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Well, we have, of course, tomorrow's Code S matches. They are down there. It's going to be our round of 8, day 1.
These are going to be great matches.
I'm just looking at them in disbelief.
Symbol, Tasia against MC, really amazing games. They will be happening tomorrow at 6 p.m. Korean time, which is 11 a.m. for the Europeans, and
for the Eastern people, I guess that would be 5 o'clock in the morning. It's the normal time, our normal 6:10 time. Of course, don't forget we'll have Code S after that and GSTL this weekend. So look forward to the rest of the StarCraft matches that you can see this week on GOMTV. I'm Wolf. With me is Kaldor. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.